provide you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
A very good evening to you and welcome to another exciting episode of the Issues on Voice of the People Television, and we bring you the most important and pressing issues shaping our nation today. I'm your host, Nenna Ndomdioto. Today on the Issues, we're examining the complexities of Nigeria's politics and governance. From federal government ordering 7 soldiers and fallen heroes on Armed Forces Remembrance and Celebration Day, to Dele Momodu disclosing that President Tinubu can be toppled if INEC is monitored. Also, Kwankwaso set conditions for potential APC defection. And finally, federal government strikes out defamation suit against Senator Natasha Oduanga. Join us as we break down the fact and provide context to help you stay informed. We'll take a short break now, and when we return, we'll bring you details to the stories. Glad to have you back. Let's dive straight into today's discussion. As the country marked the Armed Forces Remembrance and Celebration Day, President Bola Tinubu and other government officials have honored Nigeria's fallen heroes and reaffirmed support for the armed forces. In his address, the Vice President honored the courage and patriotism of officers and soldiers who have served on various fronts defending Nigeria's territorial integrity. Speakers at the event also called for renewed national unity, improved welfare for troops, and stronger support for families of fallen heroes. Earlier this week, the Defense Headquarters had officially designated January 15 as Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day in recognition of both historical milestones and the enduring sacrifices of servicemen and women. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by 2 distinguished guests who will be joining us virtually. We have Richard Oshimole, who is the editor front page, who is an editor, and of course, Assistant General Secretary, Guild of Public Affairs Analyst of Nigeria. Glad to have you join us, Richard.
My pleasure, Nina. Thank you.
Yeah, and also we have joining us from our Benin studio, we have Comrade Roy Oriabo, who is a public affairs analyst and a member of the coalition of civil society organizations. Glad to have you join us, Roy.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Hope I didn't murder your surname, please.
Of course, but I give God the glory.
I'm very sorry
the real pronunciation is Oribabo. Roy Oribabo.
Oribabo. Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you for correcting that. Oribabo. I would not mispronounce it next time. I have two Benin men in the show today. That's a very good one. Let me start with you, Roy. Let's look at this. The commemoration. We have our Armed Forces Remembrance Day, which is held today. Would you actually say that this celebration, does it genuinely deepen national appreciation, or is it just merely ceremonial?
Over the years, it's a culture. On a yearly basis, we roll out drums to celebrate it, but they have not been. The government of the day over the years have not been total, they have not been sincere, they have not been committed toward the celebration. You see some of those who are in the military, they are still crying that they have not been taken care of. They are still struggling. The issue of abandonment is still very pronounced. Therefore, the Nigerian government have not been sincere. They have not been very determined and total in regards to celebrating the heroes, celebrating those who have been protecting us, appreciating genuinely those who have fought for this country. We still see people are being abandoned, their wives being abandoned, their children being forsaken. That shows to me that there is no sincerity of purpose in all this. It's just a mere yearly ritual. And on the 15th of January, we all just we'll come out with drums and just celebrate. After that, nothing happened. After the pronouncement, nothing happened. After this usual 15th of January, tomorrow you ask them what was the discussion, what was the submission, what was the presentation. Those in position of authority have since moved on. They will not implement anyone. If you take your mind by what has been happening for the past 10 years, 20 years, that was the same thing that happened today. If you take your time to read some of the speech presented by our leaders, that was not it. The only thing that was changed there is the date. It's just the date. 15th January was constant. It's just the 2026 that was just changed. Therefore, they have never been sincere. And I hope and pray they have to be sincere. That's the reason why the insecurity in this part of the world still remains very formidable. Because we have not demonstrated that love for our security personnel who have been there for us. Some pays the supreme price. We don't care about them. We don't care about their welfare. If you serve in the military in the U.S., when something happens to you, there is a fund that takes good care of your family and you. And people are in any foreign military serving in the U.S. Army. If anything happens to him, once they are bringing that, the airport is shut down totally. Whether you are a day old in the military or you have 20 years, they give you that maximum respect. In this part of the world, we don't do that. We don't honor them. We just rush and fix something on the 15th of January and we say we are celebrating. It's quite very unfortunate. I hope and pray that in the nearest future, those who are leading us, our leaders should know that they have to be sincere and determined so that those who are protecting us will have every reason to want to put in their best. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me get to Richard. Richard, we've heard, like Roy said, these ceremonies have come annually. But in your own opinion, how can such ceremonies be linked to real policy change and the welfare of our veterans and, of course, military effectiveness?
Yeah, thank you, Nina. Just like Roy pointed out there, there are different angles to the celebration and remembrance of armed forces on this day. If I may call your attention to the real genesis of this date, January 15th. It is political in that angle. So you want to ask yourself, those things that actually led to the January 15th event of 1966, have they been addressed? That's number one. So that is the political angle of it. We still carry on, the political class elite still carry on as if nothing happened. Then when you also look at the welfare of the personnel and the officer, you want to ask yourself, how could you give arms and ammunition to people and to watch over you while you sleep, and then you leave them to lament on the social media? You have a couple of them on the social media complain about even the stipends they've been paid not getting to them on time, the allowances not getting to them on time. So and in the midst of all this, you wonder how we have survived this far, and the reason why the insecurity that bedeviled us for this long, how you're going to get to know that it's really not by accident. If personnel in this country with the right opportunity coming their way, I can assure you will prefer to work for insurgents than to the state. So, and these are issues of concern, that we should sit and ask ourselves: the welfare, the political will. What we have on ground today, Nena, is like a civil war. And we've lost so much men, officers and men. So what we are saying here is that we need a political will. For instance, look at the case of General Uba, Brigadier General Uba recently, and you want to cry over the kind of equipments a whole general had to rely on his phone. So in such a way, he was intercepted and his location detected. So what we are saying here is that we need the political will to actually put in place a good environment, political environment, where we will have less security issues. Then number two, the welfare of the personnel. Eventually, when we have threats coming from outside the country, they will be in best position to confront those threats. Presently, we do not have them, but I know we can get there.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's my submission for now.
Oh, okay, okay. So I was actually going to ask, but I think you spoke a little bit about that, but you can still speak more on that. In a climate of persistent insecurity, like we've had it, and we're still having it, is remembrance actually enough to sustain the morale of these troops?
Yeah, it is to sustain the morale. But look at today, we have like a private in the army earning less than 150,000 naira. And we are talking about an economy that has a bag of rice at about maybe minimum of 50,000 naira. Did you get that, Nena? Yes. So where does that take him or her? So this is the welfare angle I was talking about. The political will to make sure. Look at what Airpeace introduced some years back. And I think that program had been cut off and discontinued. You understand? So what we are saying is that if Airpeace, Chief Oyema, the Airpeace chairman, could come up with such initiative, like each time any of our personnel has any reason to travel, to be airborne, they should have no reason to struggle. And he put in, I expected that initiative to have come from the government. You understand? So this is part of the issues I discussed about political will to create welfare, so that if any temptation was coming from any angle, that then our soldiers will not compromise the security architecture of this country.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Let's move to Roy. Roy, with all of this, do you think that the Nigerian military is adequately equipped to actually handle security threats and the insecurity we have in the nation today?
You don't need to ask me that question again, because you and I know that they are not adequately being empowered and equipped. You know, as he said, very just now, you saw what happened to General Barr. Are you not wondering at this level, even in a court arrangement, you cannot just get their number one or their superior or their superior, as the case may be, to just be killed as if nothing happened. Look at, if you interrogate the entire process, you will agree with me that our militaries are not being equipped. There is nothing to show for it. Those who are in the battlefield on daily basis, they are lamenting. They are crying, demonstrating a level of bitterness that they don't have what it takes to confront these bandits, the terrorists, and the kidnappers that have bedeviled us. Nigerian leaders and those in position of authority must demonstrate that sincere commitment by proper funding. Our military need to be proper funding. We cannot negotiate it. As of today, we were told, even in Nigeria, the police, that some of our police personnel, they still use their personal money to buy their uniforms. They use their money to buy their shoes. They use their money to cater for what? It's as bad as that. How do you expect those kind of arrangements? How do you expect them to put in their best? Some of them are still on a rented apartment. When we were growing up in those days, if you are a member, if you belong to the armed forces, you hardly be within the streets. You're always within a confinement. You are within the barrack. And that's the reason why in those days they commit that respect. Because you don't see them all the time. Once they are out on the street, they show that respect, that dignity is there. But now you see them, they are hobnobbing and romancing with you, even in the swamp. They are trying to get their one room to a two-room apartment. Yet nobody cares about them. It takes the grace of God for a man who is holding a gun to be hungry. Take the grace of God, and it takes a level of decency for you to have a gun and you are going to bed on empty stomach. I must commend our personnel, despite the limitation, despite lack of fund, even the payments have not been regular. We have seen where some of them, they compare bitterly that payments have not been regular. Even the peanut we are talking about, 150, 120, as we are still talking now, that your salary cannot conveniently take you to a market. If you are a family of 4, how can 150, 120,000, how can they sustain you in a month? That is excluding your house rent. And you know, we're in Africa, we also have a extended family. If your mother is there, your father is there, your brothers, they're also looking at you. They must ask you to also show that concern to them. And when you are limited with that kind of resources, 150,000, what can you do? For you to be able to recharge your phone, unless you are very, some men 50,000 cannot recharge their phone. Even the data we are using to talk to you now, some persons 20,000 cannot take them for 2 weeks. The situation is as bad as that. Therefore, Nigeria government must show that serious concern and capacity that for we to fight insurgency, there must be proper funding. Our personnel need to be highly motivated by ways of funds. We must encourage them and give them reason that they are working for a system that recognizes their efforts. With the way Amala we are going now, the system does not recognize their effort. They are not proud that they belong to the military or to belong to the police force because they try to source for them. We were told in this country, the cost to run a police station. A DPO will have to go out and be looking for money to run a police station. Telling the boys to go out and look for money. Do you know what it takes to buy fuel, to power a jet to run an average police station? It's happened. It's across the federation. In an arrangement like that, you are not going to be seeing people who want to put in their best. Rather, and that's the reason why, as of today, the Nigerian military, they are begging people to come and join the army because the respect is no longer there. What motivates people in that issue is no longer there. They are moving from, they are doing serious effort now, trying to convince people to come and join. And very just now, we were also told one of the tragedies that have befallen in this country from the last President Buhari, that those who were members of those terrorist organizations, they told us that they have embraced repentance. They were now dragged into the system. Is that not the height of it? How will you reduce a system, a country, like Nigeria to that level, that because somebody say on mere confession that I have to discontinue my romance and my identity with the terrorists. Now, terrorist organization, now you are dirty there to come and join the military. How do you expect us to get results? Go back to what happened to General Uba. Look at the communication between General Uba, where people were now reading on the social media, on the pages of newspaper. What kind of society will work in that kind of regard? These are some of the issues. Therefore, we need that not just only political with sincerity of purpose. We must demonstrate to us, the leadership must demonstrate to us that of a truth, they are the leaders of this country and they want Nigeria to work. The way and manner we are doing now, as far as I'm concerned, on the 15th of January, it's just a mere jamboree. It's a mere ritual, yearly ritual that people just go and gather in one place and start laying risks. After that, the next day, nothing happened. The money they promised last year, go and do your research. What they promised last year they will do, as of today, they have not been able to do it. What they promised 5 years ago, as of today, they were not able. And what they also promised today, they will not do in another 10 years. That is the calamity we had, and that is what is befalling us, and that is the reality on ground today. Let us not pretend about it until we have that political way to say, let's call a spade, not the desert's rule. It's only then that Nigeria will progress. It's only then we can overcome and confront this insecurity that is confronting us. Thank you.
Okay, and while you were talking, you made mention of funding and how important funding is to our military and, of course, in fighting insecurity. But I want you to speak to, we know that during the budgetary allocation, this 2026 budget that the president had actually come to present, the Ministry of Defense, the allocation for Ministry of Defense is about 3.15 trillion naira. Would you actually see that as a step in the right direction?
That budget allocation can just be a mere political statement that will not go down to those who are in the battlefield. We have seen it in this country where the former security, I think national security advisor, how monies were being shared to brothers and friends and girlfriends all over the country. The money that was meant for purpose, they will divert it. And diversion is very regular in this part of the world. They have been diverting money. And they continue to divert because there are no consequences for action. We can just see it on the paper and the presentation was done. How do we follow it? How do we take it to the next level? How do we monitor it to know that those who are in the battlefield, they benefit from it? How come as of today, our personnel are still lamenting that the 3 square meals is not guaranteed? They that are even in the battlefield, they are still lamenting. We are not talking, salaries are not being paid. The equipments are not there. Are you not bothered that once any general is leaving position now, they want to contest for governor? If you take
okay, we seem to have. Go ahead, please.
You are a journalist. I want you to be doing investigative journalism. Still estate in this country. You find out that you read boys, who are in the battlefield, they don't enjoy those things. Therefore, I cannot judge Nigeria based on the allocation that have been done, based on the budgetary allocation. And we only judge them based on what is obtainable by those our personnel who are in the battlefield. When they are happy and they know that the money gets to them, it is then we will now say, yes, we can celebrate. As at now, I see it as a mere budget presentation. I see it as a paperwork, and I see it as a political one without action. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move, Richard, let me move to you. Okay, so I don't know if you actually heard some days ago, of course, during still about this Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day, during the forum to also celebrate this, the former chief of defense staff, it should be former chief of defense staff, Burutai, he was talking and he was saying that the army and the military men are not supposed to be handling internal security, that this is the job of the police, and that it looks like that the police has been educated and then the military is now the one doing internal security, which is not supposed to be. So what do you make of this statement? What do you think is the role of military in addressing internal security challenges in the country?
In my appearance here 2 weeks ago, Nena, you recollect I mentioned the same thing. It is the failure of intelligence and failure of internal security that has led us to begin to call the military to help us quell insurgency. In the first place, we should not have anything like insurgency at all. Because, for instance, when you have disgruntled citizenry, as I pointed out, when you have disgruntled citizenry, hungry citizenry, no security can be guaranteed at any point. So what we are saying right here is that now, I pointed out 2 weeks ago on this same program that when you have different checkpoints and roadblocks that are primarily manned to extort citizens, not to check for the security of the citizens, but to extort citizens. So that same citizens can never be of support in terms of intelligence to the security architecture. So what we are saying here is that in the first place, the Ministry of Interior, through immigration, through the customs, through the police, whatever, they have failed woefully, and the political class as well, taking into consideration the welfare of the citizens, they have done virtually nothing. So you now have a situation where citizens have come together more or less to connive and sabotage the security architecture of the system of the country. Now, so there is no one to trust than the military. We call them in, and they have to do whatever they have to do. So the military are actually fighting citizens, because most of these insurgents, they are also Nigerian citizens. Even though some foreigners find their ways to come into the system and subvert our security system as well. So, but what we are saying is that disgruntled citizenry, hungry citizenry, citizens that are deprived of welfare can never be of any support to security and the safety of any country.
Okay, thank you very much. But let me ask you, we've seen Nigeria and the military actually go out for peacekeeping roles. We've seen them, of course. We saw the one that happened in Benin recently, and so many persons were complaining that how would you allow our military go to Benin when we have so much at hand that have not been done? But I would want to ask you, what do you think are the benefits and drawbacks of our military engaging in peacekeeping missions?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay because when your neighbor has issues, you are most likely to have issues. Look, the population of Nigeria is more than that of the whole of West Africa put together. So when any country, our neighbors have any issues and we refuse to treat them, promptly, then it would spiral into, it was already coming, the Niger Republic, the Burkina Faso, the Chad, the Mali. So it was getting closer. And when it got to to Benin Republic, the distance between Lagos to Benin Republic is shorter than from Lagos to Jos, Plateau State. So it was already coming. So we had to do something. And as I said, it has never been the competence of Nigerians, whether in the military or in the medical sector. It has always been the political will to give them that capacity to do the right thing. And again, we shouldn't have gotten the military involved in the internal security of Nigeria. If intelligence architecture had been perfect and the welfare system to the citizens had been well taken care of.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to Roy. Let me move to you, Roy. Are you still with me?
I'm with you.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what, in your own opinion, how can the military balance its constitutional duties with the need to respect human rights and, of course, the rule of law?
The military was not trained to respect human rights. They were trained to protect us against external aggression. They're not supposed to have dealing with with human rights on a daily basis. And that's the reason why I told you that when we were growing up, you hardly see a military personnel on the streets. They were all restricted to the barracks. All their conduct and disposition, there's a bit that within the barracks. Anytime you see them on the streets, you will be bothered. It was after the coup, I think after the Civil War, that you now see the military, you cannot see them anywhere. Even when you go to beer parlor now, you see them, so I holding their gun and drinking. It's as bad as that. They were never trained like that, but because of the failure of the system and corruption, and there are also low consequences for action. That is the reason why you now begin to see the military personnel anywhere, and you expect them to not to respect your rights as a human being. They were not trained for that. Therefore, we are even overusing the military. We cut them on where we are not supposed to cut them. We cut them. Communal issues now, they now call the military to come and intervene. At times now, people now call the military to come and help them to even go and draw money. When the husband and wife have issue now, people now call military, depending on how the relationship they are. It's as bad as that. Like that. What do you expect? What's supposed to be eternal arrangement? People that were trained to do that eternal job like the Nigeria police, we have seen justices there, and they have also people have their responsibility. One, because the state does not take responsibility. Once the state don't take responsibility, what do you expect? Once the central can no longer hold, things will fall apart, and that is what we are seeing today. Therefore, we need a system, whether we like it or not. The system we need are those who have the political will, are those who believe that Nigeria should work, and those who believe that our institutions should be strong. We have a weak institutions. That's the reason why you can see a military man will be there protecting a property. A building construction is going on. You are seeing a military man there because institutions are gradually now being weak. You want to do a birthday party, you are seeing military, they are protecting the environment because our institutions are weak. These are jobs that are to be done by Boy Scouts, man of war. The military are not doing it. And you expect them to also respect human rights. It's not possible. You can't eat your cake and have it. That is where we find ourselves. Until we have a system that is working, where institutions are strong, not strong, maybe strong institutions, and anything you do, there will be consequence for it. It's only then that Nigeria will work. As we are today, we are only just deceiving ourselves. With the structures of Nigeria today, Nigeria cannot work. I'm sorry to say. I'm not a prophet of doom, but Nigeria cannot work under this arrangement until we have to revisit it and reprogram ourselves. It's only then that we cannot say, yes, Nigeria would not be on the road to progression. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to our next conversation for tonight. An ex-presidential aspirant, Dele Momodu, says Nigeria's electoral landscape could change dramatically if election management reforms are closely monitored and implemented. Speaking on the 2027 general election, Dele Momodu said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I beg your pardon, can be toppled at the polls if the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is effectively monitored and held accountable. Momodu stressed the importance of transparent elections, active civil society engagement, and robust observation mechanisms to ensure credible outcomes. His comments come as political actors intensify discussions on electoral reforms and the integrity of Nigeria's voting processes ahead of 2027, a contest many see as crucial to defining the nation's democratic trajectory. Momodu's remarks add to growing calls for stronger election safeguards, from technology adoption to civil society oversight, to guarantee that citizens' vote count. Let me come to you first, Richard. Let me just ask you, for you, on your own opinion, what do you think about the statement Momodu saying about being for the election to be closely monitored, and if INEC's credibility is closely monitored? What do you make of this particular statement?
Yeah, I think it's a right call. It's a right call, and a noble one for that matter, because of even though we pretend to practice a democracy, we must also, in that pretense, make sure we have some little bit of shame in conducting that whatever that is attached to it, which is an election anyway. If you take out any credible election, then you have nothing like a democracy. So he had called for a noble action, and the disheartening part of the whole thing is that since 1999, there is no election that has ever been judged free and fair. And this is about 27 years now going forward. And that alone should call for concerns to everyone that if you run a process for about 27 years and that process is still being disputed, the process is still being queried, then it tells you that you are you are wasting your time. And that is why I've told people that what we have is a civilian government, a civilian process. There is nothing close to a democracy in what we have in this country, except you want me to deceive you, but I won't deceive myself. So, because democracy, the tenets, is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, is it what we have on ground today? Is it by the people? How many, the number of the figure that registered for voting, successive elections, what has always been the figure that turned out for elections? You understand? So you will query that alone, the failure of the process. The other thing is the process itself on election day. You've seen videos, you've seen everything, where police personnel have monitored the tearing of ballot papers. Now, everywhere it's still on the internet. So that is brought me to the conclusion that, look, we have no democracy in the first place, but we can have one. We can have one else because there is no alternative to it. And I actually pity the political actors because they will be the first losers if this process fails. They will be the first losers. So I will beg them that they should please hearken to the voice of reasoning and let the will of the people count. But it is also very difficult because today politics remains the most viable enterprise, and that is a big concern to me. There is no one that wants to leave the office because the economy is on its knees. So which business will you run now? For instance, every 30 days and you smile to the bank with about 20 million as a senator. Which business will you do that to get that? So you can see we have made the polity, the political system to be so much attractive that nobody wants to leave the space. And it has become, like Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president once said, it has become a do or die affair.
Okay, so I want, do you think that, like you mentioned the high cost or the what they get, the paraphernalia that they surrounding the party, or no, they surrounding the office, as what these people get from, from being officers or from being legislators or from being governors, and you feel like that is what, according to you, that is what is actually making them want to still go into these offices. So do you think that if some of these things are curbed, some of these things are reduced, do you think that would get to the point where we begin to have the rights, or we begin to say that we have democracy in our country?
Of course, Nina, of course. For instance, look at the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, and I have seen him one-on-one doing that. He will often go to the office on motorcycle, on bicycle. Could that happen here? You understand? Then the democracy, the process will work. Now, look at the convoy, of the ministers, of the president, of the vice president. Look at the security votes being given to the governors, and look at the state of insecurity. So what we are saying is that if you make, for instance, legislature the part-time, duty, it will free up a lot of things. it will allow people to do this for service. Presently, our democracy is not hinged on service delivery. It is not hinged on patriotism. It is majorly all about enrichment, self-enrichment, and the self-gratification, and what all you have about it. Governors that have siphoned 80 billion, they've already become a godfather somewhere in Kogi State. The governors of 99 class, many of them that were sentenced, they have been practically pardoned by this administration. Look, the senators there, and I will mention Senator Ojuzo Kalu, he still had a case at the Supreme Court. And the EFCC said, look, they were going to appeal. Till then, they haven't appealed. So what we are saying is that it has become a kind of organized crime. Politics in Nigeria and democracy has become an organized crime that has been put in place like a plutocracy to benefit a few and the cronies, not to serve the people. And if we continue this way, we will have to start all over again from ground zero. But I don't know when it's going to be, because it will never, Nigerians won't take it like this forever.
Well, I was going to ask you another question, but let me go to Roy. Let me hear his view about all of this. Roy, how realistic do you think is a peaceful democratic turnover in 2027, given the dynamics that we have in our country today?
Well, if you can take it, you can do it. And if you can do it, it is possible. Let us not be scared. You record in this country, PDP once boasted to us that they will rule for 60 years. They were not able to sustain it. It was we Nigerians that we stood up to say, no, enough is enough. Was with the present president, they all joined us in the struggle. We start mobilizing. We mobilize and mobilize. We get to the level where an Ikube president, we voted him out, unceremoniously was removed from office, democratically. Heaven did not fall. Therefore, it's impossible. We can do it. Nigerians who participated, they are still very much alive. They are still very well. They are still very good in the position to also do it. Therefore, there is nothing. It's just for we to keep on pushing. INEC, as an umpire, what they need is cross marking. People should be there who will mark them. People should there will tell them to do what is right. Let us not believe that a present administration cannot be democratically talked to. If the oppositions have what it takes, they believe they can jettison that spirit of selfishness. They believe that they can work together collectively. Toppling the government democratically is the easiest thing. What they need to do is mobilization. As of today, there's a level of unemployment. There's poverty on the land. You can see poverty physically walking on the street. Frustration is written all over. Deprivation is there. People are not sure of tomorrow. Therefore, all the indices that make a party or a government, for you to say government are failed, they are out there. It's just what the people need is who will galvanize it, who will be there. We already have what it takes. There is already a formula on it. When Jonathan was here in 2015, later Buhari, the present president, the Arofa, Amechi, they are mobilized. You remember from the PDP, they have the 5 governors left there and said we are no longer comfortable. And they start pushing. And most persons believe that the incumbency, because PDP has had there, nobody. Even the prophets were saying that Jonathan will not fall. Across the globe, people were saying will not fall. But Nigeria keep on pushing. They have an opposition who believe that this is doable. And that is why when I listened to Dele Momodu, I was inspired. That what we just need to do, what the Nigerian people need to do, is to tell ourselves that we can do it. Let me tell you, there is no political party in Nigeria now that have the numbers to win early election in terms of registered political parties. There is no political party in Nigeria. If the people decided to say, we want to come out and do election, even in 2023, you saw it. Let me tell you, in Delta State, Delta State have a candidate, a vice presidential candidate who was the governor of Delta in Delta State. He was not able to deliver his state. It was as bad as that. Is it not because of mobilization? Even the incumbent president in Lagos, despite the election, the suppression and all the shenanigans and the gimmicks that happened, he was not able to deliver his state. Is that not enough for you to know that the people power rests with the people? Let us not be discouraged that we cannot do it. We can do it. If we have the people are there, the opposition, they are willing. You saw people like Buhari were in the front. People like President Tinubu were in the front. Them Oshamola were in the front. The matter of fact was there. The commoners mobilized around there and said, we can do it. We need people like the Matiku now to be on the front. Peter Obi, Dele Momodu, Arafat, Amechi, they have to be on the front. The people will follow them. Once the people follow them, you will know that it's doable. Let us not be scared. INEC is an umpire. Let all of us be there to also monitor the elections from INEC. INEC officials, they are not sent, they are not from heaven. They are also people we know. It's just for we to also monitor to say, is it the society we want to live for our children? The president told us that if he can one thing at all best, that if he cannot get light right for 4 years, that we should not give him second term. Is that not enough for all of us to build on? He has confessed to us that for 4 years, if he cannot give us a stable power, that we should mobilize against him and vote him out of power. Is that not enough? Has he been able to? Then let us not be scared. Nigeria belongs to all of us. That determination needs to be there. If we can do it, then it's very possible. Let politicians, those who are leading us now, not to mortgage us. They should be there for us. If they are there, it will be easy for we to get it. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. Well, let me ask you this. While you were talking, you made mention of the opposition, but I want to ask you, do you really think that we have a strong opposition party today from everything that we're seeing in Nigeria?
It's too early for you to say whether we have a strong opposition or not. But what matters is that there is already an opposition. And the opposition are already organizing themselves. They are mobilizing. Therefore, there is still time. 24 hours is enough time in politics. We don't know what's going to happen. Some governors who are moving to APC now, they are doing that because they are sure them they will give them ticket. They don't know what the people will tell them. And that's the reason why I believe that the power rests with the people. Since the power rests with the people can get it, and they will get it, and they will get it, and heaven will not fall. The president believes that the power belongs to the people, the incumbent president, and you can see the way he's moving around, trying to get more governors to himself because he's convinced that governors can do it for him. Why would the people believe that the power rests with us? And that's the reason we are saying 2027 is going to be politicians versus us. We that are on the street, and I said, go and do your research and find out that how many persons are registered on political party. No political party can confidently tell you now they have 10 million votes, 10 million registered members there. They are not there. PDP ruled this country for how many years? They don't have that kind of number. APC is here now. With the number of governors they have now, go and check their register. They cannot boast of 8 million registered members. That is enough for you to know that what we need in this country now is total mobilization. We continue to organize and mobilize the people. Let the people come out to vote. We have about we are told now we have over 100 million registered voters. In the last one, we have barely, we were not able to secure 25 million voters. If we can mobilize people, if we can mobilize 45, 50 million voters will come out. Where is the political party that will dare us? Where is the governors that will prevent us not to cast our vote accordingly and the future for we to take our future very sure? That is my position. We can do it. Let us not give up. It is too early for we to be questioning opposition. No matter, these are just elementary gimme as far as I'm concerned. Governors are moving. As the governors are moving, are the people moving with the governor? The answer is no. It is the people. Because we believe over the years that elections have been manipulated and rigged. That's the reason all of us are scared that once the governor is there, they can manipulate it because they are not the godfather. That's the reason why in some states, it's still like river now. One man can tell you that I will make you a governor. I can remove you at any time. We are showing the president I will bring a vote for you, and nobody is bothered to. Now let everybody be very bothered and concerned that at the same time be concerned. How can one person be in charge of a state? Those are the issues.
Okay. Okay, let me have Richard give us his final thoughts before we draw the curtains on today's program. Richard, can you give us the final thoughts, please?
Oh, yes. You were talking about the opposition and all that, and I wish we had one. Because as it stands today in the Nigerian context, what we have is a politics of interest, not politics of patriotism, of service, and all that. So, I'm not that kind of optimistic in because when you look at even the body language and the posture of even the opposition, it doesn't look as if they are ready, and there is nothing different they are saying. So we've found them in place before. They didn't do any better. But my final shot, as you said, is going to be one is to the INEC. The next, God forbid, civil war in this country might be caused because of INEC and the judiciary.
Okay.
I want the judiciary and the INEC to watch their backs, and read the mood of Nigerians. That's my final shot.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Richard, for being a part of the show. And thank you, Roy, for being a part of the show all the way from Benin today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. That's all we have for today's episode of The Issues. We explore the challenges facing Nigeria's politics and, of course, governance. Thank you for being a part of this. Don't forget to tune in next time for more in-depth analysis and discussion. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on the latest news and insight. Until next time, stay informed. I am Nnenna Ndomdioto. This has been The Issues on Voice of the People Television, where the future faces forward. Please don't forget to stay tuned for Hashtag with Vivian by 8 p.m. Don't go away.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world brimming with noise, only few rise above, clear, unapologetic, and unforgettable. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is one of those voices, a storyteller who reshaped global narratives not just about Africa but about identity, power,